Welcome back to the channel, guys. This video is a tad bit late because I've been extremely unmotivated to make it and extremely busy as well with this past week. Having one of my best friends being married and having to be a part of that wedding and all the stuff that goes along with it. So, this is our week 3 matchup in UGA. Didn't do live commentary for it. It was busy times with the wedding. So I figured I would do some post commentary here and break down the set. Try to go through what I'm thinking as the plays were made and make a retrospective of what I probably should have done on each turn instead of what I ended up doing for the plays that I view as a misplay. Which, spoiler, there's a few big misplays in this to me. But, yeah. This was the first week that we brought what I consider a full Trickroom option on the team. Scavalier's first game. Rotom was brought back this week, and actually, with the idea of using it, they end up leading Moltres and Manectric in this matchup. This game is just full Trick Room is what we're going for. A Scavalier and Swamperts in the back. It was a minimum speed Swampert. The idea just being it should be slower than most of his mons in Trick Room. They protect the Fake Out, which didn't really matter. And then Moltres just uses Frame Flower onto Loppard. The crit kills it since it's not Focus Sash, since we needed the Sash on Azelf. Got unlucky. Well, we didn't get lucky with the Focus Ban like we would have liked, but it is a free switch here into the Trick Room mon of choice, which I ended up going Swampert because obviously I'm not switching in the Scavalier into Moltres. Yeah. A big issue with this set I notice is Azelf just sits on the field way too long after it sets up the Trick Room. In a matchup where its Psycho attacks aren't the best. Especially since it has no investment in it. So, something I need to look into the future is when using Azelf as the Trick Room setter as a way to get it off the field. Or give it better support for the Trick Room package. Here I'm really struggling on what to do with Swampert because I am fully predicting a switch on one of the two mons. Moltres probably being the most likely, but I went for the Rockfall on it anyways. They here to go into Aggron, which is worst case scenario for me because Max Rockfall is obviously going to do next to nothing on it. But I also had to swing at it. I couldn't just let Moltres sit on the field free. Yeah, for Rockfall. As you see, it does legitimately nothing, which will sadly be a common occurrence with that aggro. And I start stalling here, which is really bad for Azelf. Swampert's physical this week, so it doesn't bother him, but Azelf was no investment already, so it's just going to continue to do nothing on the field for me after setting up the Trick Room. Probably should have switched it out here into Scavalier instead of letting it sit on the field and going for, I believe, a Psychic again into Manectric. Yeah. What do I end up doing on this turn? Is it just the Max Geyser and Aggron? It is. I really didn't want to quake it because I thought there was a chance Moltres comes in on that slot, expecting the max quake. So we went for the geyser. It was the safest play. They ended up switching Moltres into the Manectric spot, which is bad. Because if you noticed there was some hesitation there, I was really considering a Max Rockfall onto Manectric in case there was a switch on that side. But Max Geyser through Protect does nothing. We get the rain up though, so our future water moves are going to be doing more. The Psychic into Moltres actually does a nice bit of damage. I'm checking the Trickroom tones at that point, I believe. Me sitting on this as elf is just such a bad move on my part, and I honestly don't know why I kept sitting on it. It should not be on the field right now. We go for the liquidation onto the Moltres, which is obviously switching out, so misplay there as well. Probably should have targeted the Aggron, but you know, this isn't the best game by far of my career. Aggron finally gets Ass Elf off the field for me. Should have done it myself forever ago. And then Escavalier comes onto the field. The Trick Room ends here. And things get rough from here on. We X-Scissor Laddie. And I believe we end up going for liquidation on Aggron. It should be what we do. It's the safest play overall. But we're now staring down a 2v4. And they have Max. So, obviously, a rough situation to be in. This Cavalier does end up getting KO with the X-Scissor, giving it 1 kill on the season. I'm glad to finally get some numbers on this Cavalier, to be honest. It's one of my favorite Pokemon that I've hardly ever used. It would be lovely if Swampert could get some more kills, though. It's currently, after this week, 3rd on the kill list, I believe, after having a horrible week 3 here. But there's always upside with Swampert. I think I can do a lot of things on it with the season to keep its kill count up. If I want to pursue Swampert on the kill list, I probably won't hard commit to that, honestly, though. It's not my playstyle to really focus in on one mon. It's just these first 3 weeks, Swampert's matchups have been good overall. The Rock Slot does next to nothing on Aggron, as expected. Here, I try to pull up. Do I end up pulling out the tech in Razor's Trail? I believe I do end up using it here on Moltres. Yep. Oh, I reconsider. Do I go for the Aggron? Yep. Horrible idea. That is a huge misplay. I should have targeted Moltres 100% with that Razor Shell. That makes this turn hurt a whole lot more than I realized. Moltres maxes, goes for the max overgrowth on the Swampert. I really blew a calculation here because I really thought it had a chance to live that. I must have been looking at the calc for something completely different, but looking back on it, it makes sense that it doesn't live, but in the moment, I was convinced because of calculations it did. But, we can't always get the dubs we want. Agron faints there. And we kill Moltres with the Razor Shell. But that is a Scavalier's 2 kills on the game, so it's nice to see him finally show up, like I said. This game's pretty much over, so I guess I'll just do a quick little recap of what I plan on doing in the future here. Week 5 is approaching after the current week, so we will be going into the trade period. I honestly don't know how many moves I'll be making with the team besides getting Rotom Fan off the team. Later in this game, you will completely understand why I'm just done with it. So I'll be looking to pick something else up in the C tier. As far as other moves, I have nothing in mind. It really just depends on what's dropped. If there's a good Mon dropped in a tier that I feel like's an upgrade, I'll take it. There's a real possibility the whole back end of the team gets shifted, but as far as Dragapult and Liefard, Swampert, I don't see them going anywhere at all. But game 2 here, we change up the game plan. We abandoned the Trickroom, which I think was probably a misplay, considering how convincingly this game is lost in game 2. But we go for the faster side with the Rotom Fan. Yeah. You see here, I'm considering what I want to lead. I do end up leading the Rotom. I think we bleed Dragapult as well, and Swampert, I think it's the 4. Yeah, it looks like it is. But I was really expecting this Rotom to be able to do something in this matchup. Because you look at what it's tearing down, and it should do well. It really should. Especially to the fact this is a bulky Rotom. But it's just so disappointing. I don't know how else to explain my Rotom fan journey this season besides I bring it to this one game and it's just a complete disaster and a disappointment. They lead the rain mode, which is, on paper, the best matchup for Rotom fan. It hits both these things, are super effective all day, any day. So we're going to max the Rotom because it should do big damage here. We go for Airstream just in case that they switch him Manectric. We don't want to give it Lightning Rod. The Ludicolo is Assault Vest. I figured that out after the match. So, it's obviously not going to do as much side-like here, the Rotom. The offensive calc is not my issue with it. My issue is how much it takes from this Ludicolo attack, as you'll see. Because it's just unacceptable to me that I have a Rotom as bulky as it is. And it just cannot survive. Like, it's shocking to me that this thing felt as bad as it did in this matchup. Because it's the exact same stats as Rotom Wash, but Rotom Wash feels so much more bulky. I can't explain it as anything besides that water typing has to. It's just such a more advantage than the flying type. As you see, we take half from its attack, and they take under half. This game just it just falls apart from this point on, to be honest. The Politoed starts with Icy Winds. which Iceland itself does a decent amount to rotom. We do get sunny day off here, so you see me here considering the max lightning, but I feel like the airstreamers will have to, just because I'm in the trick. The sunny day will go off, obviously, which that should this lead I'm really disappointed in, because I feel like it should have destroyed the Ludicolo Politoed lead. Like, this is my best lead into these two, and it just ends horribly for the two of them. They max Hellstorm their own, which is going to be the easy KO. And from here, it gets bad fast, as you can imagine. The Politoed starts scolding the Lapward. The hail buffering it's rough. Ludicolo's still alive, so we switch and Dragon Bolt. Dragon Bolt finally hits the field. I actually don't remember if he's touched the field all season yet. I feel like he's had to at some point as my S tier pick that I paid points for. Going forward in the draft league, Dragapult is certainly something I need to focus in on. Its offensive powering is insane. I need to really start using it more. I need to explore the team a whole lot more than I have. And Dragapult gets his kill there with Dragon Darts. I think unintentionally I've been focusing in with Swampert a lot as the last few weeks, once it got high up on the kill leader list, which is something I really wanted to avoid after the RPDL, when I blew that week completely, when I was starting to focus in on Melmetal. But, yeah. So, going forward, we'll probably have a much more wider team selection coming out. Coming up in this week 4 match with the Mudkips, I have a idea of what I want to do. There's some certain mons that have good matchups, and others that not so much. The only thing I can say for sure is Rotom Fan will not be in that matchup whatsoever. We taunt Gladius here just in case Tail wins, but it's Scarf. It's Scarf Laddie, of course it is, you know. So, it just obliterates Dragapult. Yeah, that turn right there may be the epitome of this matchup for me. The Dragapult that is speed clipped for Laddie just gets Dracoed by a Scarfed Laddie. I really expected support Laddie for this matchup, and of course, I get caught when it's offensive. But as you can imagine here, it's all but done in a 3v1 with Swampert. There's not much at all the Swampert can do in this situation. You see me here just contemplating what I want to do. I think at this point I'm trying to factor out what's my best shot at getting a kill on something. Rockslide there because I was thinking maybe Moltres came in. It was just a small chance because of the Laddie attack, special attack drop. Rockslide does next to nothing on Politoed and it procs its berry. But the rest of this battle is pretty much me just struggling trying to figure out how to get a kill with Swampert because I was playing for the leaderboard at this point. because the match was clearly lost, so we might as well play for something. But that's where I'll end my commentary here and leave y'all to watch the closing moments of me getting completely embarrassed in week 3. We're now 2-1 on the season. We're still in playoff contention, luckily. And hopefully we'll bring it back with a W in week 4 here before the week 5 grace and our matchup with Josh. But I'll see y'all in the next video. Take care.